Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new review. I'm your host, the Real FNA, and tonight I'm taking a look at an animated pilot from 2019. That pilot is Hazbin Hotel. Before I get into this, I want to give a little backstory behind this. I have a few friends, one of which is really into animation. In fact, he wants to be an animator himself, and he absolutely adores this. Ever since clips started coming out and he showed me one of them, he thought it was fucking great. The animation, the jokes, the style, the aesthetic, everything, it just clicked with him instantly. Needless to say, I didn't react the way he did. In fact, I was very apathetic at best. If my memory is correct, the only thing I cared about at the time was Mega Man 11 coming out, so I passed on it. Much later, I saw the full pilot available as it was up for discussion in a Twitter thread I saw. To which I thought to myself, oh, right, that was a thing. So I went to go see it. It's only half an hour, it's on YouTube for free, so it can't be that bad, right? Wouldn't you like to know? Okay, let's start with the positives. The first positive I want to cut to is the animation. The animation is well done. None of it ever came off as rushed or cheap or anything like that. I imagine if I looked at it like frame by frame, I would notice some fuck-ups, but that's stupid and I'm not going to do that. So, just from a casual viewing, the animation is really good. It's smooth, it's expressive. You can tell there was effort put into it. The backgrounds. The backgrounds look really great. The detail, the color choices, and just the way they look, I think make them stand out to me more than the animation, to be honest. I think, visually speaking, they are the best elements of this thing. We have passable voice performances from the characters, with a few exceptions. I'll get to those later. My favorite being this radio demon named Alistair. The reason I like his voice is because of this radio filter that they put over his voice, which, fits the character and his gimmick, and just generally adds a lot of charm to it. So, I like that. The premise. I always like the idea of taking something as evil as hell and putting a comedic spin on it. That being said, the idea behind this thing is totally sound, and even though I said I was apathetic in the beginning, I wasn't against the idea of this happening in the first place. I was just too focused on playing a fucking Mega Man game at the time. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, that is probably it for positives for me, because everything else, negatives. Jesus fuck me, where do I start with the negatives? Okay, let's start with character designs. Now this is more so in the mixed elements, because I said the animation in the backgrounds look good. The characters I feel very mixed on. Some of them look fine, but others look really disjointed, lanky, and just plain fucking weird. And not in the charming sort of way, but in the Jesus Christ, get these people a goddamn sandwich kind of way. Basically everybody in this thing looks like Jack Skellington with fucking muscular dystrophy or something. Alright, now let's talk about the voice performances that I don't like. I already mentioned that a lot of them gave decent performances, or in the case of the Radio Demon, a great performance. But the others don't hit well with me at all, let alone by comparison. There are two voices in particular that I don't like. One of which is Angel Dust, who's this porn star demon who's meant to be like this snarky asshole type guy, and believe me, I'll get to him later. And especially the main character, Charlie. As little as I've seen of this shitty Disney show that you probably heard of. It's called Star vs. the Forces of Evil. The main protagonist in that show had the most ear-shrilling voice I have ever heard in media. Okay, that's an over-exaggeration, but the point is, she's fucking annoying. And I got the exact same vibes from that when I watched the main character in this fucking thing. And once again, aside from Alistair, I think you can come to this conclusion. None of these characters really left much of an impression on me, and I don't know, I just didn't think it was all that fun watching them talk with each other. It didn't really felt like they were talking with each other. It felt like they talked at each other, in a way. And this sort of leads into really the biggest issue I have with this thing. The writing. Oh my fucking god, the writing. When I turned this on and went in through the first few minutes, seeing just how unfunny it was, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna throw this a bone. I don't want this thing to make me laugh. I want it to just make me smile. That's all it has to do for me. About halfway through, I thought, I don't need to smile. Maybe just grin a little, but make me feel something other than absolute regret for pushing play. But it hardly could. Now, I've noticed a number of people shit on the detractors of Hazbin Hotel, because the detractors are giving it a bad rep just because it's crude and offensive with its style of humor. And I'll throw them a bone. I'll give them credit where it's due, because that is the absolute worst reason you could hate Hazbin Hotel, because that's the point of it. That's the point of it. It's supposed to be offensive and fucking stupid like that. Obviously, it's meant to just fuck around and have fun, right? Well, with that said, I like to talk about the pseudo-message that this thing brings into play, because basically the message that the main character Charlie tries to convey is that everybody deserves a chance of redemption no matter how bad they are. I'm not disagreeing with the message. I'm disagreeing with the fact that you put this over something that's obviously meant to be stupidly offensive and fun. Not to say that it doesn't try to be. It just fails at shoehorning it in. Now, the reason the humor doesn't click well for me, it's not because it's offensive. It's not because it's crass. It's not because it's tasteless. I like me a good bit of tasteless humor when I think it's done right. So that's not what makes this blow ass. What makes it blow ass is the execution of said writing. You have these types of jokes and dialogue that makes the whole sense of humor of this thing feel more repetitive than a shitty club song, for instance. Allow me to explain. There are two types of recurring jokes in this thing. One of which is where the character says something, and the exact opposite happens soon, if not immediately afterwards. For example, near the beginning, there's somebody who falls from the sky. And then they're happy that they're alive, and say, I'm alive, holy shit, I'm alive. And then they get run over by a car and get killed. And then Charlie's best friend, Vaggie. Vaggie tells Charlie in the newsroom, when she's trying to express her idea of the hotel and try to rehabilitate demons and make them better, she tells her not to sing, and she fucking sings anyways. What doesn't make it work is that at the beginning you hear Charlie sing about how she wants things to be better, basically. And once you hear Vaggie tell her, okay, but whatever you do, don't sing, you know she's gonna fucking sing. Like, there's absolutely no hiding it. But, you know, back on the characters saying something and the opposite happening after, I think it's a really lazy way of enticing the sense of surprise that comedy typically has. And since it happens several times, the punchline is pretty predictable, if you ask me. The second type of recurring joke is sexual innuendos, which I'll get into in a moment. I'll get into in the moment. I'm gonna go a little deeper into these characters. So you have the irritatingly awful main character, who is meant to put a positive spin on shit, and I understand that's the whole idea behind the show. Okay, well, not much the show, but what she's trying to accomplish, but I don't really connect with that in any way. And I find it hard to really care about this character, to be honest. Then you have the porn star, Angel Dust, where every other sentence that comes out of his fucking mouth is some sort of sexual innuendo. In my opinion, what makes this doesn't work is, well, actually, for quite a few reasons. One of which is because of how fucking often it is. Another one is because there's absolutely nothing else to his character. That's it. There was even a moment where Charlie was feeling sad about her plans going to shit, and there was a brief moment where Angel fucking Dust was about to comfort her, and then at the last minute he just walked away and was like, fuck it. It's like, no, God forbid you showed any character other than being a sex-driven maniac. And then there's Vaggie, Charlie's best friend, who either amounts to talking down to Charlie, telling her not to do anything, but she does that anyways, so it ends off coming across really pointless, or being really hostile towards anyone that tries to destroy her reputation. Oh yeah, there's a villain character. You want to know who this villain character is? I wish I could tell you off the top of my head without Googling it, because I can't remember a fucking thing about him. No, really, okay, there's one thing I can remember about him, and that he's this snake dude who wants to take over hell. That's it. I understand this is a pilot, but if you're going to give all these other characters something to do and give them significant screen time, and all you're going to have for this asshole is to boast about how he's going to take over hell. Give him fucking something interesting. He has absolutely no purpose in fucking any of this. Yeah, you also have these news reporters who are, pretty standard news reporters where they act okay in front of the camera, but as soon as they're off the air, they act like fucking heartless assholes. Gosh, where have I seen that before? And I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but the only character I ended up liking in any sort of fashion is Alistair, the radio demon. Because there are a couple of lines that I legitimately enjoyed. I didn't laugh at them, and it's not because I thought the dialogue was out of this world, but because of the timing and his delivery. One of which is when some guy says, "What, do you think I'm a clown?" or something of that extent, and then he says very casually, "Maybe." It's like, okay, I like that. I like the timing and the delivery of that. So, yeah, needless to say, I don't really like any of these characters except for Alistair, because I don't want to call them lifeless, because that would be an over-exaggeration to just call them fucking lifeless, but they're very one-note in a way, because you know pretty much exactly how they're going to react to a situation, and they hardly change in any fashion. Yeah, I don't really like these characters. I could stare at a wall for 30 minutes and tell you more details about the wall than all of these characters combined. And it kind of aggravates me, because I know there was a lot of effort placed into this, but there was a lot of effort placed into, the animation and like the backgrounds and just the thing in general. And what bothers me is just how fucking piss poor the characters and especially the writing is. It really bugs me to see the characters and writing this fucking bad. So I'd say, props to the animators, props to the background artists, props to most of the voice actors. But the writers? I want to find the writers of this fucking thing. And I want to punch them in their faces until my fucking fist goes numb. That is how bad the writing is in this thing. And what makes it even worse, the songs. Yeah, that's right. We got a few songs in this thing. Now, the intro song is actually okay. I think it's a nice, graceful way to open up the pilot. The other two, fuck no. The first one is so irritating. Basically, copy-paste what I said about the main character being annoying as the character in Star versus the Forces of Evil, and put it here. And the second song is so pointless and poorly timed. Because it's about the second song is about Alistair trying to talk about what he's gonna do, and like how he's gonna help Charlie out with the fucking hotel. Except this plays after you hear them talk, after you hear them agree on this, and after you hear about Alistair's backstory. Wouldn't it be more interesting to have this song play when Alistair comes to their door, rather than like a good few minutes after they talk? I swear to God, these songs serve absolutely no purpose, and they push the plot forward with as much effort as me trying to push a plane forward. And the results get either one, nowhere. So, I think that's about it. I think after these pointless phoned-in songs, except the one at the beginning, those are the major points that I wanted to bring up. So, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend Hazbin Hotel? What do you think? No. No. I will say, maybe it'll get better. Because this is a pilot. This is just a pilot. This isn't a full animated series yet. So, I'll play devil's advocate, shitty pun intended, and say that maybe it'll get better once it becomes a proper show. Maybe the songs will get better, maybe the characters will have better writing and just more fun chemistry with one another. Maybe the two lead voices won't be as irritating. So, if those things do become improved on, then, you know what? Bravo to the people running this fucking thing and seeing that they're improving upon it. But, with that said, if the full series is anything like this shit heap of a pilot that I've just seen, I imagine I'd have more fun seeing how long I'd last on the fucking rack. I know. I said it before, and I want to point it out again for the sake of clarity. I'm not shitting on this thing for lack of effort. No. It is clear that there is a huge amount of effort being put into this thing. And you know what? I wish the best for everybody working on this fucking. However, with that said, I'm not going to cut it slack just because it's the work from a bunch of independent talents. By that logic, I guess I should give Birdemic and The Room slack for being shitty movies, but hey, that they were made by independent talents who had a passion for something, so yeah, no, I'm not gonna fucking do that. Yeah, I think that's it. That about covers it for another video review. I know this is probably gonna be a bit of a hot take, considering how much overwhelming press, overwhelming positivity and press that Hazbin Hotel has got. But fuck you, I don't care. And yeah, so that does it for another video review. Thank you all so very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all in the near future. Peace.